Adolf was born in 1814, and since then, the universe wanted him gone. At 3 years old, he fell down very tall stairs. He hit his head on the stone floor, and even though he was in a coma for a week, he survived. Soon after, he swallowed a huge needle that by a miracle didn't kill him, and it came out complete on the other end. Adolf got confused and drank a glass of sulfuric acid instead of milk. Then he fell into the kitchen fire at home and got badly burned. Later, he fell into a river by accident, and they barely brought him back. And another day, while he was walking down the street, a roof tile fell on his head, putting him in a coma again. As if that wasn't enough, years later, Adolf was working in his workshop when a gunpowder storage blew up next to him. He had such bad luck that his mom said that he was cursed and wouldn't survive. But it looks like the universe loves jazz, because Adolf Sax became a talented instrument maker, and he invented the saxophone in 1840. If you run into a snake, don't try to dodge it because it will bite you. It's better to stay calm and keep eye contact while you slowly step back. If the snake comes at you, stomp hard on the ground. Snakes have a natural fear of horses, and they may think you are one. If that doesn't work, try to get higher and lift your feet off the ground. If it really bites you, do not try to suck out the venom. Instead, look for a Y-shaped stick and use it to trap it. If you take it to the doctor, they will know which anti-venom to use. This is the difference between a prison for celebrities and a regular prison. First, the comfort. Celebrities or criminals with a lot of money get amazing luxury cells with a private bathroom, plasma TV, and an equipped gym. At one time, a celebrity even had a bed made of pure gold. Normal prisoners usually have really small, dirty cells that they have to share with other inmates. Second, the food. Celebrities in prison can choose all of their food from a professional chef, but a regular prisoner is usually served food with little nutrition or even expired food, like frozen sandwiches or rotten mashed potatoes. Finally, the entertainment. The celebrities have access to fun and interesting activities such as yoga, roller skating, or even dance classes. Meanwhile, a regular prison only has a basketball court and a couple of broken weights. If you don't want anyone to eat your food, put a label that says contains laxative. If you're going to a party, dress as a pizza delivery person. If the police come, pretend you were just delivering pizzas. If you don't have clean clothes, turn your underwear inside out and spray some perfume on them. If you're in Africa, don't drink tap water. In Africa, there's very little water, and you could be taking water away from an entire family. Products that only worked because people used them wrong. A company made little paper tissue to remove makeup, but people started using them to blow their nose. The company didn't like that at all, and they spent millions trying to make people use them for makeup, but it didn't work, so they had to accept their fate, and they became the biggest tissue company in history. Bubble wrap was actually invented as textured wallpaper, but people thought it looked super ugly. Later, they found out it was perfect for protecting stuff during shipping. Finally, Viagra was made for high blood pressure, but when they tested it on people, they noticed something else was happening. If your house is on fire, don't open the windows. The air and wind will enter, and the fire will grow. If you are on vacation at the beach, never sleep under a palm tree. Coconuts weigh many kilos, and you will die. If you are at home and your internet signal is very bad, call the police. Someone has placed microphones in your house that interfere with the internet. If you are traveling on a plane and feel your ears filling with air during takeoff, yawn. This will release the pressure, and your ears won't explode. If your parents want you to do something, mess it up so badly that they'll never ask you again. You may get punished, but you won't have to do chores anymore. If you are feeling a terrible cramp, raise your hand as high and hard as you can. This will allow blood to flow back into your arm, and the cramp will go away. If you're studying for a big and important exam, chew some gum while you study. If you chew the same flavor of gum during the exam, you'll recall answers better. If you have a job interview and they ask for previous work experience, buy a disposable phone and give them that phone number. When they call, you'll be able to speak very highly of yourself. If you're a bad criminal, transform your car into an Uber. If you go into dangerous neighborhoods often, the police won't find you suspicious. If you want a pretty girl's number, ask them to take a photo of you and send it to you on WhatsApp. That way you'll have her phone number and an excuse to talk with her. If you go into a restaurant, leave a fake tip before ordering your food. That way the waiters will treat you better. If you want to buy something but don't have money, pay with countless 1-cent coins. The seller will be too lazy to count them and will believe you. 3 crazy ways that criminals used to escape from prison. In 2015, the Mexican drug trafficker El Chapo escaped from a maximum security prison through a tunnel under his cell. The tunnel had everything: lights, ventilation, and even a motorcycle. El Chapo drove the motorcycle for more than a mile until he reached a nearby construction site. But in Denmark, a man called Brian escaped by stealing an excavator and using it to break down the prison wall. But he was captured by the police a few days later, and they locked him up again. Finally, Neil Moore created a fake website website that looked identical to the government website. Then, he sent an email with fake documents and convinced the guards to set him free. 3 days later, they realized that everything was fake, but by then, he had already disappeared. If you're fighting in World War III and you're getting chased by an evil bomb drone, turn on your phone's Bluetooth and throw it as far as you can. The signal will attract the drone, allowing you to escape. If you're with your girlfriend and suspect she's cheating on you, ask her to send you a TikTok via WhatsApp right in front of you. Then you can see if she have sent TikToks to someone else. If you're driving and lose your brakes on the road, slam the side of the car against the nearest wall. The friction will destroy your car, but at least it'll slow you down and you'll survive. If you want to catch the attention of the girl you like, approach her and whisper. Don't even think about leaving your house on October 24. She'll be so intrigued that she'll be the one who gets interested in you. If you get inside a dryer during a nuclear explosion, many people think it will protect you from the blast. But is it true? Look, a dryer might slightly protect you from the heat and cover you from the first bit of radiation. But if you are even a little close to the explosion, the force of the shock wave would be so strong the dryer would crush you like a can. Then it would fly away violently, causing you to die from over-drying. How to always win at Jenga. Never start from the bottom, as your opponents will probably do the same, and you will knock the tower down on your turn. Don't remove the centerpieces at the beginning of the game either. You'll be left with no options in the final turn. If a player has a difficult piece, make them laugh so they move or let out a loud scream. They'll jump in surprise. On the other hand, if the tower has few pieces in the middle, look for a block just below the weak spot. It's the most stable point and will come out really easy. Finally, if you have a tricky block, hold your breath and push the block instead of pulling it. If you push constantly, all the pieces will eventually come out. Always start from a corner. This doubles your chances of winning. If your opponent also starts from a corner, use the opposite corner from where you started. He will block the center, so use the last available corner. This way, you will have 2 ways to win. But if your opponent starts from the center after your initial move, then use a German sticky grenade. If you give such a bad presentation that you think you're going to fail, end by saying it was an experiment about the most common mistakes students make. The teacher will think it was very realistic and give you a perfect grade. If you arrive late to class but don't have an excuse, say that a distant aunt has died. The teacher will feel sorry for you and let you in without asking questions. If you want your parents to stop looking at your phone, learn a second language and change your phone's language. Even if your parents spy on you, they won't understand anything. If your rich friend's parents invite you to a fancy restaurant, but you don't know what to order, tell the waiter to bring you the house specialty. Even if you don't like it, you'll sound very sophisticated. If you eat 2.5 kilos of sugar, the huge amount of calories will kill you right away. But just a few bags of candy corn could be way more dangerous. Look, one single candy corn is equal to 15 grams of sugar. In 2017, on Halloween, a man ate more than 260 candy corns, the same as more than 3 kilos of sugar, making his heart beat extremely fast. The man started to feel dizzy and throw up right before passing out and dying. If you want to eat for free at a restaurant, go with a friend and pretend to have a fight right after eating. The waiters will kick you out and you won't have to pay. If you try to pay but your card declines, make it look like you're calling the bank very upset. The others will think that it's the bank's problem and not that you're poor. Put a baby on board sticker on the back of your car. If you have an accident and crash another car, the firefighters will think there is a little baby in your car and will try to rescue you first. If you want to buy real luxury stuff, pay with your credit card and immediately after throw it into a lake. Now tell the bank that it was stolen from you. Even if they cancel the card, you'll keep everything you bought. How to be the cool kid in your class. First, never do your homework. Ask a classmate for their math homework in exchange for history homework, and do the opposite with a different classmate. That way, you'll always have your homework done. Wear designer clothes even if they're totally fake. Put on trendy ripped jeans, and learn unusual and weird skills to impress all the girls, like a spitting fire trick or an amazing backflip. When the teacher explains something nobody understands, raise your hand and ask. That way, you'll help your shy classmates who are scared to ask. Lastly, in group projects, ask the dumbest classmates for favors in exchange for tricks to get girls. Everyone will think you're cool, and you'll have slaves doing all the work for you. How to survive inside a giant gorilla's belly using a cotton swab and a strawberry popsicle. First, take the strawberry popsicle and put it in the stomach acid. Wait for it to melt and keep the stick for later. The gorilla will feel like he just ate a very tasty dessert. He will feel happy and he will want to take a nap. Now, walk through his body until you reach the ear. When you are there, take the cotton swab and use it to tickle him in the ear. The gorilla will get annoyed and he will start scratching. When he throws you out, use the stick to grab onto something. That way you won't get hurt. If you're invited to the Squid Game and you play red light, green light, walk right behind another player following his steps. Even if you move by accident, the doll won't see you and you won't die. If you want to survive in a zombie apocalypse, put spicy sauce all over your body. When a zombie tries to bite you, he'll be distracted by the spice, and you can cut off his head. If you encounter an alien at night, become a tour guide of planet Earth for the alien. If they decide to wipe out the entire world, they will spare your life because you were a good person. If you are poor and don't have a dishwasher, fill your sink with hot water and lots of soap. If you put your dirty dishes and cutlery inside for 15 minutes, they will come out nice and clean. How to win at the casino. Go with a friend, but pretend you don't know them. If you team up discreetly, you'll never lose. If you see someone losing repeatedly on the slot machine, get them to leave. The machine is about to hit the jackpot. If you play cards, wear sunglasses. Your opponents won't be able to see your eyes, making you unpredictable. If you have a bad hand, accidentally spill your drink. Your opponents will get distracted and you'll see their cards. Finally, leave before winning $1,000. The staff will know you've won a lot and they'll try to scam you. You arrive at school, but you failed your exam. Do this to become the best student in class. Become friends with the smartest kid in your class and help him with things outside of school. When you need notes or answers, he'll give them to you without hesitation. With his notes, separate the topics into sections and organize them by difficulty into 3 groups: easy, hard, and extreme. Now make 10 questions from each group and write them on cards. Some cards with questions and others with answers. Now, review your cards and then shuffle them all. At night, take all the cards and go back and forth between questions and answers. Repeat this process until you memorize everything and subscribe to Big Dan Baby. If you live in a dangerous city and you're afraid of thieves, put a sign on your house that says, "Warning, owner armed and a sleepwalker." The thieves will imagine you sleepwalking with a shotgun and won't try come in. If your car makes weird noises, turn the volume on the radio to the max so you can't hear them. Ears that don't hear, heart that doesn't worry. If you manage to travel through time, don't try to kill your grandfather. You could create a paradox and your whole family will die. Instead, tell your past self to buy Bitcoin and crypto. If you run into a bear, walk backwards slowly while keeping eye contact and never turn your back on it. If you're locked up in the worst prison in the world, do this to escape. First, memorize the routes and schedules of the guards. Then make a map of the least traveled areas so you'll know when to move without being seen. If you can't get the cell keys, learn to pick locks with anything: combs, paper clips, or toothbrushes. Work out a lot in the gym. If you're in shape, you'll be able to move quickly on the day of the escape. Plus, all the prisoners will respect you. Also, befriend the most aggressive inmates. If a big fight breaks out, the craziest ones will be your friends and let you escape. But above all, study the ventilation ducts, since they always have an exit to the outside. Finally, grow out your hair and beard. When you escape, shave your beard and go bald. The police will take longer to identify you, giving you more time to flee. If people borrow your things and never end up returning them, put a rainbow sticker on them that says, "I am LGBT." That way, they'll look ridiculous. If you broke something in a hotel, change the date on your phone and take a photo. That way, you'll prove that it was broken before you got there. If you want to sell a secondhand item, create other posts using fake accounts with higher prices. Your ad will be a great offer compared with the others, and everyone will want to buy it. If you see that in store a product costs $100 and online it only costs $80, buy it online and take it to the store saying that you forgot the receipt. You'll make $20 for free. If you find a USB drive on the street, don't be dumb and don't plug it into your PC. It could have a virus that makes your computer blow up. If you have gum stuck in your hair, don't cut it off. Better use an ice cube and rub it on the gum and it will come off. If you go on vacation and don't want your house to get robbed, break a window and draw an X on the door. It's a known sign thieves use to say your house was already robbed. If you leave your keys inside your car, never try to open it by force. If people see you trying to open it, they'll think you're a thief and hit you. She paid him $7,000 to break into her house and kill her husband. And when she got home, she found the police at the crime scene. She put on a show, screaming and pretending to be shocked, but she was secretly excited to get her dead husband's money. When the police questioned her, she gave a list of suspects. But that's when her husband walked into the room alive. She couldn't believe it. You see, the hitman she hired was actually an undercover cop, so she spent the next 16 years paying for her crime. If you see a thunder strike a tree, don't even think about getting closer. The ground can still hold electricity, and you'll die electrocuted. If the girl you like isn't answering to your messages, send her a message that says, "Is it you in the video?" She'll be so curious that she'll reply instantly. If you're totally lost in the ice and feel your hands freezing, put them under your armpits. You'll keep the heat in your fingers and won't lose them. If you're eating with your friend and he asks you for fries, lick them and suck them all up. A friend would never ask you for food covered in your saliva. Do this if your little kids never shut up. Go to a store, buy a robe, a fog machine, and a knife. The night before, leave them a note written in blood that says, "Spoiled kids, the Lord of Silence has heard you. Be quiet, or I will cut of your tongues." They will read it in the morning and think it's a joke, but at night when they are playing, say you're going out for a pizza. When you leave, go to the fuse box and turn off the lights, turn on the fog machine, and appear behind them whispering, "Shh," while you threaten them with the knife. When they try to run, chase them until you catch them. When they are cornered, you get close and you whisper again, "Shh." They'll get so scared that they'll pass out. While they are asleep, you carry them to bed. The next morning, you'll have brand new kids and you'll be able to enjoy your pizza in silence. If you're lost in the desert and you have plenty of food but no water, don't eat until you find something to drink. Eating activates your stomach and you'll dehydrate much faster. If someone bumps into you on the street and apologizes a lot, check that you have all your belongings. It's a trick pickpockets use to steal from you without you noticing. If you want someone to do you an important favor, first ask them for a favor that's much bigger and ridiculous. They'll feel guilty for saying no and will agree to the smaller favor. If you keep getting called by unknown numbers, answer saying you're going to die on September 13th, 2025. They'll be so scared they won't call again. How to always win at Monopoly. Never spend your money on small properties at the start of the game. It's better to buy all the orange and red properties. They are the most profitable. If a player owns a property of the color you need, say nice things to him like how handsome he is. It will be easier to convince him and make a really good deal. Build houses on all your properties and avoid hotels at first. Rents will increase significantly and you will earn a lot of money. Whenever you can, pay the $50 jail fee. But if you already own many properties, don't pay it, because if you stay in jail, you won't have to pay rent, but you will still be able to collect it. If you land on a train station, buy it immediately. It's the most profitable space. Finally, try to buy all the houses. If you buy enough, your opponents won't be able to buy houses and will lose all of their money. Your poor friend's parents invite you to sleep over at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Hide your iPhone 19 before get in. Say hello to the whole family. Don't take pictures of the house or ask why their car has no wheels. And be careful. If you notice a bad smell, don't say nothing. The family could get upset. At dinner, don't ask for seconds even if they offer. You might be taking food away from another family member. On the other hand, you might be surprised that the bathroom is outside. Remember that they may not have toilet paper, so bring extra socks and don't touch anything else besides the door. Finally, never open the windows after midnight. It's very likely that a thief could break in and steal everything, leaving the family in ruins. If you are in a dangerous bathroom and need to poop, always leave one foot out of your pants. If someone tries to attack you, you'll be able to stand up and defend yourself against the thief. If you are going to declare your love in a public place, do not choose your favorite restaurant. If they reject you, you will look ridiculous and you will never want to go back there. If you are at a dinner and choke while eating, don't try to leave the table silently to avoid embarrassment. A lot of people die because they don't ask for help. It's better to just make the universal sign that you are choking. If you are going to travel by plane, always take a picture of your suitcase before takeoff. If the suitcase gets damaged along the way, you will have proof and they will give you a new suitcase. Where did colors come from? The color orange got its name from the fruit and not the other way around. 5,000 years ago, Egyptians started to call the precious stone blue, and the name was used for things of that color. 1,000 years ago in Japan, green and blue were called the same. Oh, they still confuse it today. That's why traffic lights in Japan are red, yellow, and blue. Purple was the first color created synthetically. A chemist created it by accident while mixing medicines. Pink was named after the flower, and only rich women used it in the 17th century. It was created by diluting the red of other pigments, and people only considered it a light red. If we divide the world by genders, men and women would be separated at birth, but each zone would have only one baby of the opposite gender. In the land of all men, they would soon develop a protective instinct. Everything would start to function like an anthill. All the men protect the woman with their own lives. Soon they would make the woman their queen and become her personal army. In the woman land, they would realize that the man is very strong and would force him to carry out the heaviest work. The women would fight among themselves to see who finally gets the strong man. Wars would soon arise among the women, causing the man to lose his mind. If the woman disappeared, the men would lose their sole purpose in life and would end up dying sadly. If the man suddenly disappeared, the women wouldn't be bothered at all. The women would look for another way to do the heavy work and would keep fighting among themselves until they destroyed each other. Toys that have saved lives. In 2016, a couple of children were playing with water guns when the building where they lived caught fire. They loaded their water guns and started spraying water directly onto the fire. When the firefighters arrived, the fire was practically extinct. In 2017, a wife grabbed a knife to attack her husband. The man grabbed his lightsaber and defended himself from the attacks, escaping the scene without a single scratch. In 2020, a little girl was playing with her toy car in the backyard. When a raccoon suddenly appeared and attacked her, she hit it with the toy car and managed to escape with no harm. How many bites from these animals would kill you? If a spider bit you, it would have to bite you more than 50 times to send you to the grave. It would give you a fever, hallucinations, and total paralysis. With bees, about 800 stings would be needed. You would go blind, swell up like a ball, and the venom would suffocate you until it killed you. For ants to kill you, they would have to sting you about 2,000 times. To have an anaphylactic shock, meaning you would feel like you're being burned alive. With a scorpion, a single sting would be enough to finish you off, but with 5 stings, you'd only have about 30 minutes to live. Finally, a crocodile. It all depends on where it bites you, but on average, with only 2 bites, you would go to the afterlife, though it would keep biting you. Imagine you rob a bank and get a huge amount of money, but you have a big problem. You can't spend that money because the police will ask you where you obtained it. Since dirty bills must be laundered before spending them, this is what you must do. You open a small hamburger stand and sell some real burgers, but every day you will lie about how many burgers you have sold. Each day you will say that you sell 50 burgers, even though in reality you only sell 1. Now you add all the stolen money pretending it comes from your business. If someone asks you where you got the money, you tell them it came from your business and show the fake evidence. But if you're an idiot, sooner or later the police will notice that the numbers don't match, and they'll lock you up for money laundering. If you could know everything in the world, at first it would be incredible. Just by thinking about it, you'd know every secret and every hidden truth. No one could lie to you. You'd know every answer before they even ask you. You'd discover betrayals from loved ones and what everyone really thinks of you. You'd know when your friends, your parents, and even you yourself would die. Sleeping would be impossible. The voices, the data, everyone's thoughts would haunt you day and night. You would go crazy and be unable to endure so much knowledge. You would have to clear your mind and meditate so you wouldn't die from a heart attack. One day you'd think about how to use your power, and you'd reveal secrets that would change governments, expose corrupt politicians, and prevent wars. Everyone would be afraid of you, but they would also love you. You'd become a hero and a villain at the same time, building a world in balance. If you're lost in the forest, follow these 5 rules to survive. First, don't move. The rescue team will only look for you where you were last seen, not where you might have gone. Second, look for water. You can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. But before drinking it, you have to filter it. Fold your t-shirt 4 times and pour the water through it. This way you'll eliminate dirt, bugs, and bacteria. Third, signal SOS. Make 3 signals of anything repeatedly. 3 flashlight flashes, 3 loud whistles, or even 3 fires. Fourth, build a shelter. Use branches, stones, and bushes. Put it all together, and above all, make sure the roof doesn't fall down. Finally, make a fire. Rub a stick repeatedly against dry leaves on top of a log. When smoke comes out, blow on it while you keep rubbing. Fire is useful for warming up, boiling water, and most importantly, attracting the attention of rescuers.
If you're stupid and bite your tongue while eating spicy food, run to drink lots of water. The spice has burned the wound and you could lose your tongue. If you notice lots of graffiti in the same color, get out of there as soon as possible. You've probably entered a dangerous gang neighborhood. If a dangerous thief tries to rob you, throw your own stuff as far as possible. Thieves are usually stupid and they'll forget about you. If you're a slob and stain your pants while peeing, wet your pants with even more water. People will think you just got wet while washing your hands.
A woman spilled a McDonald's coffee on her legs in 1992. At that time, McDonald's served its coffee at the dangerous temperature of 90 degrees Celsius, and therefore just 10 degrees Celsius away from boiling. Due to the heat, the woman needed skin grafts and was hospitalized for 8 days because of the burn. But this wasn't the only coffee-related accident, as McDonald's had received over 700 complaints about its dangerously hot coffee. The company faced a major public scandal and finally decided to lower the temperature of its coffee.
If you're under house arrest, here's what happens. First, they'll put an ankle monitor on your leg and confine you to a specific area, like your house. You are required to work to pay the daily $20 for the use of the monitor. On the other hand, if you break the monitor, you'll have to pay for a new one and pay $3,000. But if you intentionally don't charge your monitor so the battery dies, the police will come looking for you and could take you to a real prison. Finally, if you try to leave your house even by a meter, the monitor will send a signal to the nearest police station, and since they have your exact location, they will send several officers to kindly ask you why you are not at home.
If you are in your house during the night and a thief comes in to steal, turn off the lights. You know your house inside much better than the thief does. If you're completely lost in the desert, don't go and drink your own urine. You will only get even more dehydrated. If you've been kidnapped, you can call 911 and pretend you are ordering a pizza. The policemen will notice the clue and they'll come to save you. If you're on the beach and the water begins to recede, get out of there as soon as possible. A great tsunami is approaching.
Security cameras recorded a woman pressing all the elevator buttons while nervously glancing down the hallway. Minutes later, she vanished completely without a trace. During the next weeks, hotel guests began complaining that the water wasn't working, and when maintenance checked the water tank on the rooftop, they found the woman's body floating inside. There were no signs of trauma or violence on her body, and the police closed the case, saying she had accidentally drowned. But the water tanks were padlocked and the rooftop doors were completely locked. It was impossible for the woman to have entered alone. So why did she act so strange in the elevator? And how did she get to the rooftop to drown in the water tank? A girl took medicine to cure her cold, but a few hours later she was dead. Over the next few days, 6 more people died the same way. The deaths terrified everyone and forced the medicine to be pulled from all stores. Millions of bottles of the medicine were destroyed, and the police began a detective investigation. They discovered that a killer had opened the bottles and put poison inside. The tragedy led to all medicines in the world being sealed with tamper-proof caps, but the killer was never caught.
A woman climbed a giant tree to protect it from a group of loggers who were planning to cut it down. At first, most people thought she would come down after a few days, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and she still refused to leave. She lived on 2 small platforms and used ropes to receive food. Despite harsh weather, rainfall, and even threats from the loggers, the woman kept living in the tree. Finally, after 738 long days, the loggers agreed to protect the tree and the entire forest, and the woman came down at last.
Guess which student gets better grades? This is Big. When he gets to class, he takes out his notebook and starts taking notes. While the teacher explains the lesson, Big copies everything word for word. On the other hand, Dan doesn't take notes right away, as he waits until the teacher finishes explaining each topic. Then, he writes the notes in his own words. Several studies show that Dan gets better grades, and he understands the topic better. If you're afraid of speaking in public in front of a big crowd, imagine everyone naked and wearing Mickey Mouse ears. That way, the audience will look ridiculous, and you won't feel embarrassed to speak. If you go on a trip to the desert, bring an inflatable cactus and place it in the middle of the desert. When a traveler is dying of thirst, he'll try to drink from the cactus and it'll explode in his face. If you go with your friends to a haunted house, hide a speaker somewhere in the house beforehand, and play scary sounds using Bluetooth from your phone. All your friends will crap their pants in fear, and they'll respect you for being brave. If you're broke and your laptop overheats very fast, grab a fan and put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. Then turn it on facing your computer so it doesn't overheat further.
Would you rather be afraid of the dark or your own reflection? I would rather be afraid of my own reflection because any light would create a shadow that would scare me. And besides, I would not rather see my ugly reflection. Would you rather have infinite wishes or a lot of good luck? I would rather have a lot of good luck, as I might accidentally destroy the world by making wishes. And if I have good luck, I'll always end up winning. Would you rather fight against the aliens or against the demons? I would rather fight the demons because the aliens will surely have weapons that would eliminate us in a few seconds. Would you rather be able to run super fast but only in circles, or be invisible but only when you close your eyes? To be honest, I'm not totally sure, but subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
If you're trapped in a sewer, most people would try to scream and call for help, but sewers are so deep underground that no one will be able to hear you. Instead, look for beams of light and follow them to the surface. If you see no light, try to figure out which way the current is flowing and go the complete opposite way. You'll reach much smaller tunnels where the waste is fresher and there are fewer toxic gases. Then, use a piece of clothing to block a pipe from a house that connects to the sewer. This will cause a flood in their house, and they'll call a plumber so he can come and fix the pipe.
World War III has begun, and you are drafted into the army. Do this to survive. Get up early, make your bed, and learn to say yes sir loud and clear, so the sergeant won't hate you on the first day. Befriend the strongest person and share part of your ration. If you get hurt, he will be the first to help you mindlessly. Never miss one training. Being physically fit will save your life. Running will always be better than fighting. Now, learn to use your knife. Use it to cut ropes, open cans, and if necessary, cut off your own arm. Never listen to someone of your same rank. They will probably play a prank on you and everyone will bully you. If you have to go to war but are afraid, step on a rusty nail, your foot will get infected and they will cut it off, but at least you won't have to go to war. You're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Do this to survive. First, go to the nearest museum. Look for the medieval artifacts room and grab a suit of armor. It's nearly impossible for a zombie to bite through and penetrate armor. On the other hand, you'll think that firearms like pistols or machine guns are the best option for defending yourself, but you'll run out of ammo really quickly. And also, the noise will attract more zombies. The best weapon is actually a good pair of running shoes to outrun the zombies, or at least run faster than your companion. Finally, the two best zones for survival are a snowy mountain where the zombies freeze, or an island in the middle of the sea because zombies can't swim.